I have with me Keri Dennis-Fulmore. She's going to join us and share her wisdom, her insights about who she is, what she does, and we're going to bring it all back full circle to how you can apply intuition in your own life. So let's first connect in with Keri. Welcome.
Hi, Malcolm. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, for sure. Super excited to have you on the call. You and I have known each other for a long time, and it was many moons ago that we used to live in close proximity and, adventures. We've all kind of moved away, and you're now based in Ontario. However, you have a business where you reach out and you're connecting with people all around the world. They come to you for insight into their own health, and you do it intuitively, which is very curious and wonderful to for us to kind of share today and get insight into what is that. It seems very mysterious, but having done your online course about intuition and your own healing, I got a little insight into that, and where it kind of merges for me and my interest is this idea of intuitive eating. So I'd love for you just to share about who you are, your journey, what you do, and then we'll kind of bring it back full circle to how those listening can bring it into their own lives.
Sure, that's great. So I've been doing medical intuition online since 2009, and it's been a full-time business for me. I work with people all over the world, internationally, and absolutely love what I do. I love to inspire people to get in touch with their own intuitive insights, because even though I'm intuitive, you're more intuitive about what you need to know to heal than I am. So I like to inspire that in people, to get them to dive deep and come across those messages that are there, but people might not be paying attention to. And I have used my own intuition for myself. 6 years ago, I found myself in chronic body-wide pain in bed. And I went from one moment being completely normal and, great life. I had a 1-year-old at the time. And, overnight I just suddenly had chronic body-wide pain, nerve pain that burned and stung all over. And I had no idea what was going on. Of course, in my panic at the time, I went around to all the doctors and naturopaths and healers and even psychics, and I really didn't find any answers for my healing. So I really had to use my own wisdom on myself. So it's so easy to do for others, but when we have to do it for ourselves, our ego can get in the way. And we might not believe what we hear at first, or we're going to question it. We might not, we might not even want to look in. We're afraid of what we're going to see or what we're going to hear or find. And that's the fear mind. And so I really had to get quiet with myself. I had to develop techniques that are really simple to remove myself out of, my ego self out of the way, so that I could actually hear what was needed for my healing. And it sent me on a journey of healing. I'm completely well now. And so my mission is to share that with the world, how you can use that in your life too, for health, abundance, manifestation, all of intuitive eating, all of those things. Yeah.
Cool. There's a lot in there. Let's start from the top. You said you're a medical intuitive, just to kind of give a little bit more insight into what that term is, what it means, what do you do to that, just for those listening.
So as a medical intuitive, I connect in with your body. We are all connected via energy in the quantum field. So I connect in with you using your name and your birth date, and where you live. And that just allows me to make sure that I'm connecting with you, because there could be many John Smiths in the world. So, but maybe not as many that live in the same place or the same birthday. And I just simply have a conversation with your body. I get a lot of clairaudience, so I hear things. So I get a lot of messages from the body. I might look in and the body will tell me, your hormones need help, or, your liver. And then I'll go deeper with that. So what is it about the liver or the hormones, and will look for bacterias and infections and viruses. So you can pretty much go as deep as you want. I will get clear pictures as well. It's like areas of the body just kind of light up and show me exactly where we need to go. And sometimes it's far away from the symptoms themselves. Like even though someone might be having skin issues, it might not actually be the skin that's the problem. It might be something more internally and emotionally as well. So that's big. A lot of people don't connect their emotions with their physical ailments, and they're so connected.
Yeah, for sure. I remember, I think it was my friend Yarrow. He was saying that a lot of people who have skin issues, just on that little side tangent, it reminded me of this. He's like, and they'll be like, "Oh, my skin," and it's like actually your skin is doing, it's working perfectly because it's trying to bring things out and from the surface. And often we blame the skin, but it's something deeper, and absolutely emotions too. So, well, I love what you said about. How you are intuitive. However, like you are more intuitive, right? Others, the people that you're working with. And this has been my journey. It's very easy to kind of see someone like yourself, who has that confidence and that ability and that, just kind of that track record of knowing, trusting, listening, being able to find the answers. But then when I look at myself, or someone might listening go like, I don't know, like she's gifted, I don't have this. But as I've progressed on the journey, and I'm far, 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 far behind where you are, I'm just beginning in that sense, beginning to trust, beginning to listen, and beginning to go, you know what, I can do this. And is that true? Is that like that seems to be the journey, right? Is just kind of acknowledging, trusting, and going with it.
Yeah, well, we're all intuitive beings. I'm not more gifted than you are. And in fact, I also spent a lot of time really growing my intuition. And I always say to people, it's like a muscle. The more you use it, the bigger it grows. So, if you're not actively listening and checking in with yourself, you might not be as connected. But, there's nobody yet that I have worked with that cannot connect to their intuition when needed. And so, yeah, it's something that can grow over time.
And also what I found curious is, when you were sharing your story of how you almost spontaneously got this painfulness and basically this illness that was going on, that you had a hard time cluing in for your own self. Now, at that time, were you doing it for others, and now is the time for you to do it for yourself?
Yeah, I was doing it for others. So it was like, practice what you preach, look into yourself, given, a problem to solve so that I could be more connected to my own self. It's easy to ignore our own bodies and just go about our days, go to work, never really check in. Do I really need this? Do I need this piece of, pizza or whatever it is? I think that a lot of us just mindlessly go about our day.
Yeah, so we're on autopilot. It's habit. It's routine. And yeah. I bet you if I can think in my circumstances, like if I, that voice, those messages are always there, but we're on autopilot, and it's so easy to kind of override. We're just like, no, this is what I'm doing. And that's what I've noticed, is just like stopping and paying attention, like how you say it is a practice, because that, that little voice is there. Like, do you really need this? Do you need to do that? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? And you are guided. And I think, maybe we can kind of break this down for people, because it's when I was doing your course and over the time of just kind of my own exploration of intuition, at first it always seems like, well, it should be more fantastical. It should be like a loud booming voice or lights or colors or something, right? But from my experience, it's actually it's very plain, matter of fact, soft, subtle. Not to say that it can't be grand and theatrical, but every day and every moment, yourself, your heart, your body, your gut, whatever you want to call it, speaking to you, can just be that plain matter of fact. And why don't you share your insight around that?
Yeah, so I've always experienced the intuition like a soft whisper, and there's no emotional attachment to it. in, you're going to get the answer right away, and it's going to be very solid yet soft answer. You're gonna hear it right away. That's the bottom line. Whether or not you listen is another story. So yeah, I guess we all hear these answers all the time. Whether you're in a rush and you're going to go somewhere to eat, and out of convenience you want to go somewhere that's a little bit quicker, and you just keep hearing, well, I shouldn't eat this, but I'm gonna. That can be your intuition. Your body's talking to you, and it's a matter of you listening.
Yeah, and from my understanding as well, like intuition can be something auditory. You mentioned that's you often get like sounds, or you hear. Sometimes it can just purely be a feeling, like, oh, this is, whether those words are saying, oh, this isn't good. You can get that feeling of like, yes, no. What other ways that the intuition can come through that maybe someone might be experiencing, but going, oh, okay, that's what that is.
Yeah, so there's different ways to hear your intuition, and the most common is clairsentience. So that's the feeling body. So you get a bad feeling that maybe you shouldn't do something, and I know we've all had that because it's also attached to our survival instincts. And so everybody's been walking late at night in the dark and felt like maybe they're not safe, or they should be somewhere else. Or maybe you've gone to purchase a big item like a car, and you keep getting told not to do it, and you do it anyways. Like you have that feeling in your stomach. It's just doesn't feel so good. And that's your feeling intuition. And if your body's giving you that like awful feeling in your stomach, or just that vibe of you're just not feeling so great, and it often shows up in our digestion, in your stomach. You'll get that that nausea in your stomach. Something's not right. That's your intuition talking to you, and it's often coming at a time when you're making a decision, or maybe not in the right place at the right time. And then the other way is clairaudience. So you will hear things, and I always say to people that you're not hearing someone else's voice. You're hearing your own. It's your own voice. Your higher self is talking to you. And so, I'm not going to hear a man's voice talking to me, telling me what it is that I need to hear. It's going to be my own voice. But it's soft and subtle. And then there's Claire. What's the other one? So we have clairsentience, clairaudient, and when you see pictures.
Is that clairvoyance?
So, clairvoyance, thank you. I was drawing a blank. So I sometimes see pictures, but not always. Some people are really gifted with that. So, you'll have your eyes closed, and you'll be connecting with yourself. Maybe you're going to ask a question: what should I have for lunch to help feed my body exactly what I need? And maybe you're going to see a salad. Or maybe you're not going to hear the words, and you're not necessarily going to feel it, but you're going to see it. So a lot of people get pictures. And then mediumship, something totally different. That's connecting with the dead. I don't do that, but yeah.
Yeah, and actually, I got a couple hard questions for you here, and one I've asked you before, but I liked your answer, because again, a lot of us can kind of misinterpret, with like the difference between being psychic, or like you say, mediumship, like you're communicating with the dead or whatever it is, and your intuition. How do you make that distinction or clarify between the two?
So intuition for yourself is connecting with your higher self to keep you healthy, happy, and in the right place at the right time. Psychic is more future reading. So obviously there are people who are really gifted with seeing the future and helping guide people that way. Then there is mediumship, which is connecting with the other side, bringing messages from the dead for you. A medical intuitive, like what I do, is really just connecting to your body in the present moment to see what's going on. So I'm not looking at the past and I'm not looking at the future. I'm simply in the present moment having a conversation with your higher self.
Right.
And yeah, and it comes through again as my own voice, because it's really I see it as my intuition, my higher self is talking to your higher self and then relaying answers to me, almost like the middleman.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so how about this one? What is the difference between intuition and instinct? Do you know that? I was doing some research on it because I came to this point, just been doing some writing, and I'm just like, oh, wait a minute here. And I was really trying to like pull that apart. You already mentioned in the conversation, like your instincts kick in. Is there a difference, and how do you make that distinction?
I think that this is the one time, like in an instinctual situation, where your intuition and your ego come together to deliver a message. So a lot of people will think, oh, I've got to get rid of my ego. My ego is a bad thing. But our ego is there to keep us safe. And, even if it's delivering you negative messages like that voice in your head, it's doing it because it wants to keep you safe, and change is scary for it. But in the moment of instinct, maybe you're walking down a dark alley and you just get this feeling like run, like it's just your instinct. That's both, I feel like both the intuition and your ego coming together. Does that resonate? Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because I don't think the ego's all bad. So.
No, for sure. I don't either. Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to be really into Buddhism, which is all about erasing the ego and that kind of thing. But yeah, it's there. It plays a role, and
it's our human experience for sure.
Yeah. Cool. So we've talked about quite a lot here. Where else have we gone wrong or we're off in terms of, we talked about habits and just patterns. Obviously we could say upbringing and schooling. Definitely our society doesn't really encourage this idea of intuition and following that. It's all about kind of like intellect and rational mind. Any other insights of why is this not more prevalent? Why aren't we using it more? And then leading into, how can we start doing that more?
Yeah, so I just kind of think, like you said, it's our upbringing, it's society. We're in school, we're almost kind of like farmed to fit a certain mold or model. We're told that we have to pick X, Y, and Z or we're not going to make it. We're never really encouraged to follow our passions and what we're really interested in. And in those things and our passions and our purpose, that's where, the intuition lies because it's guiding us. And so we're not really nourished in our society to really follow those passions or those interests most of the time. I kind of think also it starts with parenting too, because our kids will tell us, like what they're needing for themselves, and we may, poo-poo it and you can't have that or you can't do that, and that's what they're really wanting. And then sitting down with our children and asking them to, when something's bothering them, let's connect in. Let's see what it is that you're really needing here. We're just not taught to do those things. And, I think we all should be. And our children are naturally intuitive anyway. So if we nourish that in them, they're going to, grow up using that and having a happier, healthier life because of it.
Yeah, no, it's so true. Like even, I love how you're saying, like, have that conversation with your kids. And, I did that with Laura and Onoa the other day. Just like, well, how does your body feel? What do you think it is? Like just really putting that question to yourself, right? Mm-hmm. Where most of the time we kind of throw up our arms like, I have no idea what's going on. I got to go see someone. I got to do this, that, or the next thing. And we're just automatically are always kind of throwing our power and the answers are outside of ourselves too, versus, have that conversation, bring it back in for yourself, for others. Just like, well, what do you think? What is your body telling you? What do you think this might be? And, like you say, it's going to take time. It's going to take practice. or does it? Like, can we expect to have that answer right away? What would you say to that?
I would say that if you take the time to connect in and ask the question, you're going to have an answer right away. Some people are a little bit more in their mind, and it takes them a little bit more deep breathing to really relax the monkey mind. But 9 times out of 10, people will get an answer right away. So, I often teach people just to take some deep breaths, down into the navel, really like breathing out all the stress from the day, and then connecting to their heart, just the energy of the heart center, and asking whatever it is that they want to know. And right away, you're going to hear a voice in your head, and it's your own voice. That's going to give you an answer, and it might be simple. Often it starts simple, and then it expands. Maybe you're going to start to hear sentences, or you're going to see pictures. But the more you connect, the more it grows. So
right. So that's part of the development is, hearing that kind of first simple answer, and then, like you say, it can extend out to more depth. The other thing I've learned from you is like asking the right questions. It's like, so then, okay, you might hear, I don't know, I'm going to make this up, like, hormones. And then it's like, well, what about my hormones? And what about this? And you kind of keep asking and going deeper and deeper. I think that's another part of the development. Whereas before, until I heard you say that, I wouldn't have thought about that. Just like, okay, it's that. What do I do with that answer, right?
Right.
But you can keep asking questions. You go deeper.
Yeah, and it can be helpful, too. Like, if you do hear an answer like, my hormones, you can look it up online, like what hormones do I have in the body, and is it my testosterone, is it, you can go deeper, and so that's what online's good for. You can literally look it up right away. It does help when you're doing medical intuition to have a background in the human body works and where everything is. So luckily I do have that. I trained traditional Chinese medicine practitioner as well, and a functional medicine practitioner. So I've had a lot of body training as far as that goes. But for the people who just, want some help finding something out, you can, go deeper by pulling up a picture even, so you know what it looks like. And,
right. Yeah, so this to me, again, of course, is one of those scenarios where it's like, be your own doctor and, have someone you can work with that can really help you go, deeper as well, that has, again, like you say, more of a medical understanding of the body and systems and that kind of thing.
It's not to replace a medical doctor, and it's not to replace, maybe even a naturopath, but what it is to work in conjunction with it, because often there are pieces missing in our medical system, and they don't always find what the root problem is. And so, I encourage people to really connect with themselves, because sometimes it's emotional too. And, when's the last time your medical doctor asked you what's going on in your life right now when you went in with a complaint? So often people don't connect those dots, and our intuition will tell us, oh, you're being mean to yourself. So, whatever it is, and we can then begin to change and elicit some healing to happen.
Yeah, no, it's so true. I recently had a member in my family that, had an incident, went to the hospital, issue with the heart, etc. And they're like, all your vitals are good. Like, we just don't know. We don't understand. We don't know what's going on. And yeah, I love and totally resonate with what you're saying is, if they had asked themselves, there's an answer there, of course, right? Maybe the medical industry hasn't gotten to it, but she can get her own answer. And even if it, I think a lot of times in those cases, it could even steer. You can fast track working with your naturopath, working with your doctor to like, I'm kind of thinking it might be this, like, why don't we run some tests in that area?
Right.
Or again, it could be that simple emotional that, because of this internal emotional pattern and self-talk, you've brought about this level of condition. Yeah.
Yeah, and definitely that was the case for me. I went to doctors, and I had MRIs and tests and all sorts of things done, and I was found to be completely normal. Only my body was like roaring in pain. And so for me, I actually had to go with what my intuition was telling me, and then go to my doctor and say, you know what, I think we need to do this. And luckily, she was pretty open-minded, but it's not always as easy. But the answers are there.
Yeah. Another thing I've noticed how intuition can work is, and let's take it back to that hormone example, right? It's like, even if all you get is like, I think it might be hormones. Like, I bet you within a week you're gonna like be scanning some article and it's like, oh, like click, or some video pops up, or you overhear a conversation, or a certain herb is mentioned, and I mean, depending how you want to look at it, whether I think it's internally your intuition is guiding you to kind of pick up on those things. Those things could be popping up in your life externally as well, to kind of be there to help you. And I've definitely noticed that in my own life as well, where there's that dynamic at play as well.
Yeah, I love that dynamic for sure. It's like suddenly you're seeing the answer right in front of you all over the place, and I like to think of that as like your gut in the universe coming together with your intuition to show you. A lot of times we also don't pay attention to those signs, but they're there every single day.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Cool. All right. I'm feeling, is there anything, I feel like we've just covered a lot, shared a lot of great insight into this. And in terms of like a beginning practice or starting technique, I feel like we've actually shared it in the sense of, beginning to ask, or even just to become aware, we all have that intuition. So let's be aware, let's acknowledge that it is our own plain and simple voice that comes through. We can ask questions to our body. The answers will come. I think, as you said, it's going to be not emotional, to be plain, kind of matter of fact in your own voice. Anything else to kind of, get people going, to bring this into their awareness after listening to this call?
Yeah, so, in the beginning, it's really helpful to get into a really relaxed state, because when we're stressed or we've been overwhelmed or we've had a really long day, the mind can kind of be tired or confused. So it's really helpful, I find, to do a little bit of deep breathing meditation before you start asking the questions. And, for some people, it can be really helpful to ask your heart, because your heart is kind of like, it guides us in truth. A lot of people will put their hands over their heart when they see something warming or touching. So I'll simply just tell people, ask your heart. Simple as like, heart, what is it that I need to know? And you'll hear an answer right away. And then other people need to remove themselves out of the situation. And so I'll just get them to ask Creator, God, Spirit. And so the answers will come. It's either we answer, your intuition is, it is connected to that universal God Spirit energy. So you can do it either way, but relax first. That's the first step.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. And what do you have in terms of how can people find you, access you online, either to connect with you personally, to learn more about their own intuition, developing that, maybe taking a course with you, as well as I'm sure there might be someone watching going like, oh, medical intuitive, sounds curious. Maybe she can help me figure out, X, Y, and Z.
Okay. So I have a website. It's called Intuitive Health Solutions. So you can find me there. You can find me on Facebook at Keri Dennis-Fulmore, Medical Intuitive, or under Intuitive Health Solutions as well. I do one-on-ones with people, so I'll do medical intuitive readings, and I've added intuitive discovery sessions as well, where I help you to connect to your own intuition and get the answers and guide you into deeper questions. And then I periodically put on some courses to help people to connect as well.
Okay, right on. So we'll
find it all on my website.
Absolutely. So we'll post the links down below. People can click to those directly. Give this a like, give it a share. Fun, fascinating conversation. Thanks for being on. Any last final words you want to share?
Just that don't think that you can't connect. You are all intuitive, and have fun with it.
Right on.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot. Thanks for the call.
Thanks, Malcolm.
All right.